Hi there. It's September 17th and time for Proverbs 17. Let's jump over there and we'll get into it. Now, I always call this the Thanksgiving verse because if you read it around November, it makes more sense. But better is a dry morsel if peace be with it than in a house full of sacrifices with strife. This is sacrifice, I mean feasting, lots of food, lots of meat, right? Better is a dry morsel if peace be with it. And you know how some of these get-togethers go, and it just ends up people end up fighting and arguing about everything that's not even important instead of being thankful. And the cops get called and it gets awkward, right? Better off staying home and eating dry bread. Just good stuff. Okay. 2, a discreet servant shall have rule over a lewd son, and he shall divide the heritage among the brethren. It says, a servant who acts wisely will rule over a son who acts shamefully. That happens. I've never lived in a house big enough to have servants. So. And 3, as is the finding pot for silver and the furnace for gold, so the Lord trieth the hearts. That's a good one. I talk about this whenever it comes up. You heat gold in a finding pot. It's called a crucible. And when you heat silver, gold, or any metal to the melting point to where it's a liquid, all the impurities always float to the top, and you scrape those off. And then you take that pure liquid metal, you pour it in a mold, and you get a pure bar that you can make jewelry and stuff with. Okay. And the Lord does that for hearts. Okay. And a lot of people think, oh, great, Lord, purify my heart. And they have no idea that it includes melting it to a liquid in intense heat and scraping off all the bad parts and then pouring it in a mold and making a new heart. Okay. God will do that for you. And the end is an incredible process, but it can be very painful. Right? And there's songs written about that. There's a song called Refiner's Fire. It's an old song. Probably from the 80s, I think. For the wicked giveth heed to false lips, and the liar hearkeneth to the naughty tongue. Right. The wicked listens to liars, and liars hearkeneth, pay attention to destructive tongues. Right? Evil people hang around with evil people. You know what hangs around? If you hang around with evil people, right, do that math. 5, he that mocketh the poor reproacheth him that made him, and he that rejoiceth at destruction shall not be unpunished. Okay. Sweet as so here. He who mocks the poor taunts his maker. He who rejoices at calamity will not go unpunished. Okay. If you make fun of the poor, if you make fun of the homeless, you're taunting God himself. Okay. And if you rejoice at destruction, rejoice at calamity. If you make fun of somebody that has had bad luck, or they've fallen, or they've been, they're out of work, something bad happens to them, if you rejoice at that, you shall not be unpunished. You will get yours. Okay? Should always be kind, always be compassionate. Right? That's what we expect the Lord to be. Always kind, always compassionate. But he does have wrath, and he does get angry. He doesn't like things, certain things. This being one of them. Okay. Children's children are the crown of the elders, and the glory of the children are their fathers. Glory of sons are their fathers. Grandchildren are the crown of the elders. Right? The crown, I like my grandkids. and it makes your children, you're proud of your grandkids, you love your grandkids. It makes your kids proud. They say, that's my son and my father loves him. It's just a true statement. 7. High talk becometh not a fool, much less lying talk a prince. The lip of excellency. Right. Excellent speech is not fitting for a fool, much less are lying lips to a prince. Right. Fools don't talk eloquently, right? Because they're fools. And princes should not talk like fools, because they're supposed to be eloquent. 8. A reward is as a stone pleasant in the eyes of them that have it. It prospereth whosoever it turneth. A reward is a stone pleasant in the eyes of them that have it. A bribe is a charm in the sight of its owner. It'll say stone here. It's stone of favor. Let's see what this says. The reward has great force to gain the hearts of men. Right. Now, I don't know that I've never thought of a bribe as a good thing. Okay. A bribe is something you're giving somebody in secret to make them do something you want them to do that they wouldn't normally do on their own. Right. It goes on in Congress a lot. Okay. But the person giving the bribes always prospers. We'd have to study whether they meant this for good or bad. I just never thought a bribe was a good thing. And it never is. Right? 9. He that covereth a transgression seeketh love, but he that repeateth a matter separateth the prince. And I kind of like it over here better. He who conceals a transgression seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates intimate friends. And repeating a matter, that could be gossip. Okay, doesn't mean doing the whole thing all over again, but if somebody wrongs you and you cover it up and you're seeking love, okay, if you gossip about it, this person did this to me, can you believe how evil this person are? Right? Separates intimate friends. Okay. He that admonisheth the prince of his soul maketh him his enemy. Right? Separates close friends. Right. If somebody's wronged you, let it go, okay? Seek love, let it go. Don't tell other people what this person did to me. A reproof entereth into him more that hath understanding than 100 stripes into a fool. Right? If you have understanding, right? If you get it, okay? Wisdom and the knowledge and understanding, if you get it, a reproof or rebuke or criticism, right, goes deeper into one who has understanding than 100 stripes to a fool. 100 blows into a fool. Right? You can put somebody in jail and they don't care. They're going right back to do the same thing again. Okay? Just another true statement. 11. A seditious person seeketh only evil, and a cruel messenger shall be sent against him. Seditious. By the messenger is meant such means as God useth to punish the rebels. Seditious or rebellious person seeks only evil. Gotta get you. Eh? 12. It is better for a man to beat a bear robbed of her cubs or whelps than a fool in his folly. Right. Let's highlight that. Better to beat a bear robbed of her whelps, it says here, whelps, than a fool in his folly. Why by he meaneth the wicked in his rage who hath no fear of God. Right. The wicked in his rage that have no fear of God. You're better off meeting a bear robbed of her cubs. And if you don't know what that means, a mama bear robbed of her cubs is the meanest thing on earth, okay? The meanest thing on earth is a mother bear robbed of her cubs. Right? 13, he that rewardeth evil for good, evil shall not depart from his house. He who returns evil for good, evil will not depart from his house. If somebody does something good for you, or nice for you, and you reward that with evil, evil shall never depart from your house. Okay? It's important. 14, the beginning of strife is as one that openeth the waters. Therefore, or the contention be meddled with, leave off. Wow. Now that's old language, which is why we have this over here. Right? The beginning of strife is like letting out water. So abandon the quarrel before it breaks out. Abandon the quarrel before it breaks out. Right. Just let it go, okay? Or you open the floodgates. Just let it go. There's a lot of things you should just let it go, right? 15, he that justifieth the wicked, and he that condemneth the just, even they both are abomination to the Lord. Right? And that's important too. A lot of judges doing this nowadays, huh? Judges that were bought by evil people, by the bribes we were talking about. Up the chapter there. An evil person will buy a judge, put them into their position by crooked means and money, and then the judge has to do whatever the briber says. So, we can read that over here. He who justifies the wicked and he who condemns the righteous, both of them alike, are an abomination to the Lord. Can you imagine being an abomination to the Lord? I can't even imagine that. Something the Lord hates. Okay? Hates crooked judges. Okay? And if I was a judge, I would be much more worried about the Lord than I would about some briber. When you have the power to do something that's right and you abuse that, that's a horrible thing. Okay? Something else you could talk about all day, right? 16, where there is a price in the hand of the fool to get wisdom, he hath none heart. Why is there a price in the hand of a fool to buy wisdom when he has no sense? Let's see what this says. What availeth it the wicked to be rich, seeing he setteth not his mind to wisdom? What availeth the wicked to be rich, seeing he setteth not his mind to wisdom? I think some fools can afford education, but they don't get it. Okay. They want to get rich without getting any smarts. A lot of those out there too. 17, a friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. so that he is more than a friend, even a brother that helpeth in the time of adversity. A brother is born for adversity. They can mean my blood brother, okay? I have a blood brother, two of them actually, and I have friends, and my friends that helped me out in hard times. Stuff got really, really bad. Your family supposedly will never leave you. I say supposedly because it's not always true. Right? 18, a man destitute of understanding toucheth the hand and becometh surety for his neighbor. Read Proverbs 6:1. A man lacking in sense pledges and becomes guarantor in the presence of his neighbor. Right. 18. This basically says if you co-sign for somebody else's loan, you're stupid. Okay? And he says that over and over again in Proverbs. Solomon never co-signed for somebody else's loan. 19. He loveth transgression that loveth strife, and he that exalteth his gate seeketh destruction. Wow. He who loves transgression loves strife. He who raises his door seeks destruction. Right. Exalteth his gate seeketh destruction. Yeah, some people just love to argue. Okay, they love to argue, love to fight. Right? And they'll open their door and charge out. Never was that kind of person, I guess. 20. The forward heart, perverse heart, findeth no good, and he that hath a naughty tongue shall fall into evil. That's pretty self-explanatory. The perverse heart. He who has a crooked mind finds no good, and he who is perverted in his language falls into evil. With a naughty tongue. Right. Fall into evil. Perverse heart and a naughty tongue. 21. He that begetteth a fool getteth himself sorrow, and the father of a fool can have no joy. Right. He who sires a fool sow to his sorrow, and the father of a fool has no joy. Right. Right. There are some kids that just turn out to be fools and rebels and stuff. Right. And sometimes it has nothing to do with the parents, okay? The same parents can raise very wise, wonderful, meek, gentle kids, and there's one that's just not like that, okay? It happens. It's a sad thing, it's saying. Right? It's a sad thing when your kids don't turn out. 22, a joyful heart causeth good health, but a sorrowful mind drieth the bones. That's an interesting way to put it. A joyful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bones. My grandma said that. A joyful heart is good medicine. Right? But a sad mind or spirit drieth the bones. 23, a wicked man taketh the gift out of the bosom to wrest the ways of judgment. That is secretly and out of the bosom of the rich. Right. The wicked man receives a bribe from the bosom to pervert the ways of justice. We were talking about that earlier. You know, a wicked person will, in effect, buy a judge, and the judge will not rule according to the rule of law in fair and justice. He will do what the person that bribed him says to do, which is usually the wrong one. Okay. That's not judgment. 24. Wisdom is in the face of him that hath understanding, but the eyes of a fool are on the corners of the world. Or wanders to and fro and seeks not after wisdom. Right. Dreamers. They call these dreamers. Someday. Okay. Wisdom is in the face of him that hath understanding. What's that say over here? Wisdom is in the presence of the one who has understanding, but the eyes of a fool are on the ends of the earth. Right. Just for kicks, right? Eyes of the fool are on the end of the earth. Someday, tomorrow, right? I'm going to win the lottery. Yeah, sure you are. 25. A foolish son is a grief unto his father, and a heaviness to her that bore him. Right. More about bad kids. And some kids are just like that. 26. Surely it is not good to condemn the just, nor that the princes should smite such for equity, for their well-doing. Well, it is also not good to fine the righteous, nor to strike the noble for their uprightness. Find a good person for being good. Okay, 27. He that hath knowledge spareth his words, and a man of understanding is of an excellent spirit. That's another one of my here. If you're smart, keep your mouth shut, right? Right? If you're smart, keep your mouth shut. And a man of his cool spirit over here, so an excellent spirit, has understanding. You know why. You need to keep your mouth shut. Right? 28. Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise, as he, and he that stoppeth his lips is prudent. Right? Even a fool, when he keeps quiet, is considered wise. Right? If you're sitting there quietly, listening, they don't know you're a fool. Well, there you go. That's Proverbs 17. What are we highlighting here? Highlighted 3. As the refining pot for silver and the furnace for gold, so the Lord trieth the hearts. Right? We talked about that. Right? You melt gold and silver and metal because all the impurities float to the top and you can get those out of there. And then you're left with pure. The Lord does that with hearts. Melts them in a furnace, gets all the impurities out, and then reforms your heart into something pure. And it can be a painful process, but it's well worth going through. Highlighted 5. He that mocketh the poor reproacheth him that made him, and he that rejoiceth at destruction shall not be unpunished. Right? He who mocks the poor taunts his maker, God. If you mock the poor, you are taunting God himself. He who rejoices at calamity will not go unpunished. Right? You will not go unpunished for laughing at somebody because they fell. Right? I will always come back at you. Always. Okay, 9, we highlighted. He that covereth the transgression seeketh love, but he that repeateth the matter separateth the prince. If you conceal the transgression, you're seeking love. Okay? Somebody did you wrong. You should conceal it. Forgive them. Move on. But I look at over here. He who repeats the matter separates intimate friends. Okay. If you go blabbing about it to everybody, this person, look what he did. He's so evil, blah, blah, blah. All right? You're separating intimate friends. Yeah. Let it go. Keep it to yourself. Let God take care of it. And highlighted 12. It is better for a man to meet a bear robbed of her whelps or cubs than a fool in his folly. A fool in his foolishness. And this always puts the notes over here where you can't read them. Means the wicked in his rage has no fear of God. Right? Fool in his foolishness. We did talk about that. Nothing meaner than a mama bear robbed of her cubs. But it's better to meet that than to meet a fool in his foolishness that has no fear of God. Right? At 14, the beginning of strife is as one that openeth the waters, therefore, or the contention be muddled with, leave off. Now that is confusing in the Old English, right? The beginning of strife is like letting out water, so abandon the quarrel before it breaks out, right? Let it go. Just let it go. Don't go there. Don't go there, right? 15, we highlighted. He that justifieth the wicked and he that condemneth the just, even they both are an abomination to the Lord, right? He who justifies the wicked and condemns the righteous, both of them alike are an abomination to the Lord. And we talked about judges, but it doesn't mean just judges, all right? Anybody that justifies the wicked and condemns the righteous, and there's lots of those out there, lots of these protesters, they're getting paid to say the wrong thing, okay? To build up the wicked and stomp on the righteous. How do you know they're righteous? Nobody could truly follow God and be wicked, okay? You could pretend, but you can't. And we highlighted 23. A wicked man taketh a gift out of the bosom to wrest the ways of judgment. Same thing. A wicked person will take a bribe secretly to pervert the ways of justice. A wicked judge is paid off. Gotta get those, right? 24, we highlighted, wisdom is in the face of him that hath understanding, but the eyes of a fool are in the corners of the world. Wisdom is in the presence of one who has understanding. Right? You have understanding, wisdom it's here, it's about you. Right? The eyes of the fool are on the corners of the world. Out. Someday, right? I'm going to win the lottery, right? Someday. Or many other things fit that. Not on the here and now. Okay? And we highlighted 27. He that hath knowledge spares his words, and a man of understanding is of an excellent spirit. Here it says, he who restrains his word has knowledge, and a man has a cool spirit is a man of understanding. Right. Restrain your words. Know when to keep your mouth shut. Right. If you understand these things, a man of understanding has a cool spirit. Excellent spirit. So, there you go. That's Proverbs 17 for September 17th. And we're getting through these, the 13th time through this. Pitching later today, we are still in our Through the Bible in a Year. We're on day 261, I believe, and we're beginning the book of Ezra. A lot of books will take just one day because they're just 2 or 3 chapters, but still important. And we're going to read through the whole Bible in a year. But the next time, remember, know when to keep your mouth shut. Know when to just let it go. All right? Don't gossip. All right? Don't go spreading. Look, what do you know what this person did? God doesn't like that. Be humble. Okay? See you next time.